So what's up, guys, and welcome to the channel. Today's video is going to be super simple. We're going to go ahead and take this bike and convert it over to our brushless motor. Right now I do have the fourth battery hooked up, so we are running 48 volts instead of the stock 36 volts. So I did that in my last video on this bike. If you're going to go check that out, go ahead. Super simple. The only thing you really had to do was add a battery, wire it, and then change your charger from a 36 volt charger to a 48 volt charger. Anyway, today in this video, we're going to go ahead and we're switching it over to the brushless motor. So we're definitely going to go ahead and take this motor out. We're going to rearrange our batteries. I'm going to cut this bar out. We're going to have a different speed controller now for the 48 volts. And I'll probably reuse a lot of these connectors. And this is the kit I got here. So you can see this is a 1800 watt motor. Maybe you can see that on the camera or not, but 1800 watt motor. It says the speed is 4500 RPM, so that should be a nice little upgrade. This is our new speed controller. It's a little bit beefier, so we're going to have to find room for it. I'll go ahead in this video and show you all the wiring. It may look like a lot at first, but it's actually pretty simple. A lot of this crap we're not even going to use. You can even see this one here is marked reverse. We got a better throttle we're going to upgrade to. I might go ahead and change the grips though, because they seem pretty cheesy, but at least we got a full length throttle, not that little cheap grip. I'm going to real quick go ahead, strip this bike down and get it ready for some grinding and cutting. So we got our batteries out, super simple. Next thing I'll have to do is unbolt that motor. Real quick though, while I'm here, guys, this is your safety switch here for your brakes. It's something I definitely don't use. All it does is it's a switch, so as you squeeze that, it closes your circuit and cuts off power to your motor. All right, we got our crappy tray cut out of there now. I just have to clean up this areas where it was welded a little bit better. Next though, we're going to go ahead and grind these feet off of this motor, so this will mount up nice and easy. Now guys, this casing here should be aluminum, okay? So you got to be careful anytime. I'm definitely going to be wearing eye protection when you're grinding aluminum. It's a soft metal, so it's not going to kick up no sparks, and sometimes it's hard to tell which way, you know, your tailings are kicking off at you, okay? So I'll make sure we definitely wear eye protection, and I'll show you the difference between, you know, steel will spark, aluminum will not spark. All right, this should be a quick little one-handed demo, okay? So once again, you can see you can hit that little grinder. And like I said, aluminum is a soft metal. It's not going to create a spark. Now, if you're cutting something like steel, you see how you can at least see the sparks. So, you know, if you're cutting something that's steel, it's hard for you to shoot stuff directly in your face without knowing it. When you're doing something like aluminum, like I said, guys, be super careful. You can easily grind all types of shrapnel right into your, and definitely just wear eye protection. Just wear eye protection. If I'm wearing it, you should be wearing it. You know we don't do safety around here too much. Now, once again, aluminum's a soft metal. I really just scarred it and hit it with some lockers and bent them right off. If that doesn't bother, you can leave it just like that, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'll clean up where it's welded and get it looking nice and smooth. The battery tray is cut out. I cleaned them up a little bit. I didn't go crazy yet. I'm not worried about making this bike look pretty yet. We just got to get it running. You can see here where I cut this and started to grind out the welds. But that's all I brought it to. Again, I'm not worried about making this bike look pretty. We're going to get it going today. So next we're going to take off this chain guard, pop this motor out. You will run into an issue with mounting this motor up now that the bolts stick out on the back side of the new motor. A couple different ways you can do it. Some guys actually have been countersinking into your end cap here, or you could just simply drill 2 holes on the back side of your swing arm just to give you the clearance. I'm going to pull it out and see which route we're going to go with. You can see on the new motor, the back plate is not as thick as, you can see the stock plate is thicker on the stock motor, and you can see how they kind of already have their bolts countersunk on the stock one. So I might just go ahead and drill the 2 holes. Motor's in and mocked up. I did end up going with the drilling technique, and I just simply, you know, made like a little template here. This is where my 2 bolt holes were, and this is where the 2, you know, bolt studs came out. So then I was able to line it up and mark where I wanted to drill. Super simple. The only thing though is if you are going to go this route and drill your swing arm as opposed to, you know, trying to countersink those bolts, you just got to keep in mind you're going to be on a goofy little bit of an angle, so you're not going to be able to drill straight on. All right, so next thing we're going to have to do is we did run into a couple problems. As soon as I went to take the tension off of this tensioner, I accidentally broke this spring. So I'm going to have to steal the one off of the 500, and we are going to have to switch our sprockets around. You can see they did throw a sprocket on here, and they did even give us extra ones in the kit, but they're all for a different style chain. I don't believe we're going to be changing the rear sprocket, so I'm going to go ahead and change this front sprocket out. Now, if you're somebody that's familiar with stuff, you can even look at this shaft and immediately tell something looks different. This is an actual reverse thread nut. So you're going to get your wrench on the back shaft and actually tighten this bolt, and that'll break it loose. Once again, this is reverse thread. So I got my 10mm on the back side, and as you can see, this would normally be tightening, and that's going to bring your nut off the end here. All right, so I was getting ready to stick the old sprocket back on, and right away I knew, you know, things were just too good to be true here, guys. I just wanted to show this to you. If you look at your output shaft on this motor to this one, I'll show you, hopefully we can see that good on the camera. Anyway, that puts us right at, that's my 1/2 inch mark. So what would that be? 3/8 of an inch. So on the stock shaft, your sprocket is sticking out about 3/8 of an inch. And you can see if you look at this new one now, it puts you at right about a 1/2 inch. All right, now I know I've watched videos with these guys and they're wondering like, oh my God, why is my chain popping? Some of these people that made these videos on these razors, you guys should just really, I mean, you guys should just bury your head in the sand. So, it did have this little washer, and if you can see here, hold on, let me get the camera back on. So the stock one did have this back washer, and you know, even with that added, you could see we weren't at the 1/2 inch mark. Like, this is kicking us out. So we're obviously not going to use this washer because we don't need to be kicked out anymore. We're going to put this gear onto the new shaft. Something we might have to do if we do have an issue is actually add some type of spacer to our rear sprocket to kick that out, you know, to make up the difference. But obviously, guys, something like, you know, the alignment of your sprocket is super crucial, okay? Now, I know I watch videos of these guys and like that Danner Scanner dude, this other goofy dude that was supposedly some BMX rider back in the day. They made these videos and just, they don't know what they're talking about. They wonder why things like, oh, your chain's popping. Right away, these are key things I'm going to point out to you. If you watch those other guys' videos compared to this one, it should be like night and day, okay? So we did figure out that problem. Once we get this bike running, if we do have issues with our chain lining up, we will have to adjust that rear sprocket. Anyway, I'm going to real quick steal that spring. Let's get this motor mounted and start running some electrical. So here's the spring we stole out the 500. You can see here it's supposed to have, you know, this bend in the little tab that's going to go into, there's a little hole here on the frame. I'm just going to pop this arm off. Nope. Just going to pop this arm off, set it down. Here's our broken spring. You can see it doesn't have the tab. All right, and we're just going to simply put that in there. Put our arm right back up on in through there. Oh. Okay. And then that's just going to simply wrap around behind like that. All right, our new spring is in. One thing you want to make sure you don't tighten this down too tight, that your chain tensioner isn't nice and free. All right, so we got our motor mounted. I got my batteries temporarily strapped in here, all ghetto rigged. So what I'm thinking about doing next is cutting about 1 or 2 inches out of here, and then I'll be able to take my batteries and lay them sideways, get access to my terminals out the side, and then you'll see that that'll allow me to drop about 1/4 inch or so, and then, you know, tighten this all up, because as of right now I almost have the plastic being able to bolt up, but I'm just not quite there yet. We'll clean it up later on in another video, but right now you see they made this crazy switch, and this was running your batteries to your switch down to your speed controller. First things first, we're going to run our battery line here to our positive and negative off of the speed controller. I'm even going to use this clip here off of the stock one, so I can still just use this clip. I'm just going to cut this with enough room to crimp it, and then we'll be able to plug and play. Now, I'm not even going to need this little wire here. I'm not quite sure what they had running that off on the stock configuration there. Alright, a real quick cut and strip this now. I'm going to cut our ends. Just going to use these little quick connectors now. All right, and you just run that into the crimper there. All right, now we'll be able to use that quick connector there. So now we have power going into our speed controller. Next, we'll start hooking up this motor. So this is really simple here. You're simply just going to be matching up the colors here. Blue to blue, green to green, yellow to yellow. And this will come plug right up into there. Man, that's a cheap connector. All right, we're checking things off the list. So we have our motor ran. I soldered in this port here. This is going to be, this says the electric lock on the kit. So the electric lock is going to be your on-off switch. So I ran that too. This was my old brake sensor connector. Okay, so I don't need the brake safety switch no more. So I used the line there. And you can see I got it tied in here to that on-off switch. So next thing I'm going to do is solder another connector for our indicator light here. And the indicator light is what you can run your voltage meter to, so we can know your voltage. Because again, this throttle that we have now is not going to have a built-in voltage meter like the cheap Razor one. We're going to have a different voltage meter and a totally different throttle. All right, I got our indicator light ran now with our old brake connector. Once again, that's our indicator light. It's going to be our voltage meter. So the ones that we still have remaining is a brake light, which we're not using. This is a brake sensor. This is a actual reverse. So we're probably not going to be using that. The throttle, we still got to hook up. We're going to do that now. and another brake sensor. Oh, and then of course the 3-speed. So we will have to play with the 3-speed and make sure we get all the power going to the motor. All right, so let's go ahead and move on, get this throttle off. We got our grip here. I already got it started. I mean, this is super simple. You definitely don't need to be squirting no WD-40 down there, guys. If you can't twist this grip off by hand, then you never did BMX, okay? You were a poser. Real quick, get this throttle off. We're going to slide the new one on. So we have our throttle wired, ran right through the hole. We got our lock nut backed out. That baby's just going to slide on there, super simple. I'll tighten that up now. Oh, and maybe we want to run that down below, I think. Yeah, right about there. So I got the bike pretty much buttoned up for today. But man, I hit the switch. And then boom, I didn't see nothing in my voltage meter. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what did I do wrong? So the bike is going, as you can see here. I want to point out, if you look at the chain, remember I was talking about that little bit we were off. And you can kind of see the way how the chain is tracking to the right side of the sprocket. We're probably going to have to add some type of spacer. So you can see just that little bit will kind of center that chain up. Oh, but anyway, this is what I did. I made sure I tested that my orange was my positive and the black was the negative. Now something like the voltage meter, it does matter, you know, which is positive and negative. But I took this old clip, which was off of a brake sensor. So it didn't matter. It was just basically closing the circuit. So the way how Razor had it was they actually had it, when it clips up, red, you see here, red going to black, black to red, because it just simply, it didn't matter. Now something like the voltage meter, it definitely does. So you can see right here where I soldered this connection, I actually needed to switch that. Again, this is just insulated wire. It doesn't have a brain or anything like that. It's just color coordinated, so that way it's easier for you to trace things. You know, red wire, black wire is still the same inside, okay? So I'm just going to simply cut right here. I'll switch it back where my line's actually going to go red to black, back to red. All right, here we go. Let's see if that makes a difference now. I'm gonna hit our switch. Our bike will come on. Gonna be able to see our voltage, 51.8 right now. All right, it's the next day on the old Razor project. We got one more thing we gotta rig up before we can go ahead and take this thing out and get a top speed run and see what our difference is, okay? So I'm gonna bring you on in. You can see here the last thing we have to rig up is our 3-speed. I don't know if that's coming up on camera or not. Maybe it's just my GoPro display screen that's showing up. So, I mean, to me it looks like 3-speed, looks like it's even in Chinese right now. So I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Anyway, this is real simple, okay? You got your black wire in the middle, blue and yellow to the sides. You can see here I got a 3-way toggle switch here. So when the switch is off, it's just like as if this was unplugged, okay? Same way the wires are going right now. What you're going to do is you're going to rig your black to the center, colors to the outside, and what the switch is going to do is this bike should always be in your second speed. So if you made the connection, that would probably go from black to yellow. If you had it that way, that would be your first speed. Again, when the switch is in the off position, that would be second speed. And then you would connect your black and blue wire. That should be your third highest speed, okay? So real simple. We're going to real quick cut this here and rig it up temporarily and be able to do our different speed modes. Now, you definitely don't need this, and if you wanted to have your top speed, you're just simply going to connect your black and blue wire together, okay? You don't need yellow unless you want it to, you know, I'm just hooking this up basically just to see the difference in the speeds. That's mainly why I got this switch. Like I said, you don't need it, but as it is right now, it would be in speed 2, not our fastest speed. So that's why we're going to rig up this switch, take it out and get the GPS numbers. All right, there it is, really simple. All right, guys, so I lied, all right? I was looking off of somebody else's video, and I could have sworn he said black to blue was his high speed. He could have maybe had a different kit. Once again, these people at the factory, the color coordination on a wire is just to help you trace it. Once again, insulated wire is insulated wire. It's just simply a different color coating on it. The inside is all the same. It has no brain. It doesn't know what it's doing. You tell it what to do. So once again, I believe I was wrong, because if we go black to blue now, you can see that was definitely our slowest speed. Off, this would be speed 2. And then black to yellow, which I thought was going to be our slow speed. You should notice a difference. All right, so if you did have this kit and you wanted to have your top speed, you'd actually need to go black to yellow, not black to blue, okay? But believe me, if you did it, you'd know right away you did the wrong wire. All right, let's go get this thing charged up and hit the road. All right, here we go. Top speed run, and this should be in, I got it in low speed, I believe. Definitely got a little bit more torque right off the get-go, so I'm happy so far. And we're already up to 18 and a half. About 18 and a half miles an hour on, I believe, slow speed. We go ahead and try to hit this thing. This should be the middle. Get any increase here. All right, we're already hitting 19, 21, 22, 23. We're already moving faster than what we were. Zipping faster than the cars around us now. 23. We'll go ahead. And man, this bike's rolling smooth, guys. Take the hands off, no problem. All right, this should be speed number 3. Let's see if we get any increase. 23, 24, 25, 26 now. Coming up on it. This thing's moving along pretty good. Let me get this thing topped out. About 25. I'm trying to gauge. It does seem like when you're in speed 1, there is maybe a little bit more torque. So maybe it was a cool thing to add this switch. But man, things zipping around pretty good. It's definitely getting me cold even. We're gonna take it around the other way and try to get a true top speed run. Man, look at all these people stuck in traffic, man. This thing's quicker than driving a vehicle in this crowded ass town. Oh, I'm pulling up on them. Passing them out here. We're passing them out here. I haven't really seen much 26 on right now. I'll tell you what, 26, no stop sign. It's great. It's quick for going around town. Ooh, my hands are even getting cold as I'm in. Alright, here we go, final time speed run. And that's it for this video. If you guys have any questions on this build, or maybe you're doing this project yourself, make sure you drop it in the comments. I'll try to get back to you. Again, if you're a fan of this build, make sure you subscribe, because I got a lot more coming here. I'm planning on probably taking this and converting over to the 500. The 48 volts is great. 25 miles an hour is a major increase, guys. Think about the percentage. If you're talking about going from, we only had 15 miles an hour. So think about 15 miles an hour, say if that was 150 to now 27, doing about 270. That's a huge percentage difference. So I'm real happy with the top speed we got, but not with the torque. I'm thinking about going to the 72 volt. We're definitely going to have to order some good batteries. I'm not going to be able to go with this style anymore. We are going to pretty this bike up in the future. I got brakes here ready to get thrown on. Already got the 500 back in action. These parts seem like they're pretty easy to order. So we got a lot more coming, and I'll see you next time.